All right, let's jump right into today's explainer. We're looking at a fascinating piece titled, Does Creative Expression Actually Calm Your Nervous System? What the Science Says. You know the feeling, right? It's 2 a.m., your thoughts are racing, you're totally overwhelmed. We've all been there. Today, we're going to look under the hood at the mechanics of our own nervous systems to see how engaging our hands and our minds creatively might actually be the secret to calming us down. So what exactly is happening in our bodies when we're trying to process all that stress? Let's find out.
Think about this for a second. Why on earth do some people sit down and play the piano when they're angry, while the rest of us just mindlessly scroll on our phones? I mean, picture it. One person gets frustrated, sits at the keys, bangs out the same 4 chords, and their nervous system just kind of settles. But then, another person sits there huffing and puffing, swiping endlessly through their feed, and that frustration? It literally just sits there. It doesn't go anywhere. Section 1, Scrolling versus Creating. We're breaking down the difference between active and passive engagement.
The contrast here, especially when using the exact same tool, is just wild. Our source noted that typing just one furious, totally unstructured sentence into a phone's notes app actually made people feel lighter. It's like the anger loosened its grip just enough to finally let them sleep. But mindless scrolling on that exact same device, it left them feeling foggier, more wound up, and honestly, worse. It's the exact same piece of glass and metal, but it produces a completely different biological result. Moving on to Section 2, the myth of venting, emptying versus engaging. We have been told over and over again that we have to empty ourselves of negative emotions to find any relief, right? Don't bottle it up, they say. But here's the million-dollar question. Does simply getting it out or venting actually help us calm down on a neurological level? Well, there's this huge wellness myth out there. The idea is that holding a feeling in costs your body energy. So the logic goes, expressing that feeling acts like a pressure release valve. You just let it out, empty yourself, and boom, your nervous system can finally stop working so hard and just relax. It's a really neat, tidy little story. But as it turns out, the scientific reality is way more complex and, honestly, a whole lot more interesting. There's this fascinating study that captures this perfectly. Researchers found that when people drew with just plain pencils, it didn't really do much for their mood. But when they brought out the big guns, oil pastels, gouache, their moods lifted significantly. But wait, here is the absolutely crucial neurological finding. Using those oil pastels actually left people more physically activated. Think about that for a second. Their mood got way better, but their bodies were highly engaged. They weren't deeply relaxed at all. Which brings us to Section 3, getting into, not out. Let's talk about the power of active absorption. So the real takeaway here is that it isn't about emptying yourself out, like a deflating balloon. Not at all. The mood lift actually comes from active absorption. It's about your hands being busy. It's about your mind being occupied. You're genuinely doing something. When we doom scroll, there is literally zero absorption. You're just sitting there, completely passive, holding a screen while a river of content just pours past you. The real magic? It's in the engagement. The source material perfectly nails this paradigm shift with this quote, "Get it out" was never quite the right phrase. Get into something might be closer. It really flips the script, doesn't it? That deep dive into a task, that total absorption, is what actually shifts our internal state. All right, Section 4, moving sideways. Let's look at breaking the rumination loop. So tackling a feeling head-on doesn't always work out. There was a 2023 study on drawing that found when people were asked to draw their fear directly, they actually felt worse afterward. They were basically just stewing in it. But, and this is a real game changer, when they were asked to draw something completely unrelated, they actually felt better. Reshaping their focus entirely with a creative distraction was the key to getting relief. And we see this exact same pattern with music. If you're feeling down and you put on heavy, sad music to try and quote-unquote express that sadness, it often just deepens the negative mood instead of shifting it. Dwelling directly on the feeling just keeps you stuck, like playing the exact same sad note on repeat. So what we really need to adopt is this concept of moving sideways. Instead of direct venting, like, say, furiously typing out a 10-page essay about why you're mad, you occupy your nervous system with a totally unrelated, engaging physical task. It's this specific cognitive shift, this sideways step, that actually short-circuits that rumination loop. Section 5, how to start small with simple creative acts. Now, a quick caveat. This is still emerging science based on smaller lab studies. We don't exactly have massive global clinical trials testing your specific 11 p.m. doom scrolling habits just yet. But here is the absolute beauty of this whole thing. These little interventions have zero barrier to entry. I mean, they cost nothing, they take seconds, and they are completely harmless to try out.
And you definitely don't need to be some master artist to pull this off. You just need to start small. We're talking one sentence in your Notes app. Just whatever's bouncing around in your head. No editing allowed. Or maybe grab one paintbrush. Just make a few strokes, a scribble, something physical. Or heck, pick up an instrument for 10 minutes and play 4 basic chords for an audience of 0. The trick is to choose whichever physical, absorbing action you'll actually reach for when that stress hits.
And this right here is exactly why these sideways steps work so well. Doing these tiny creative tasks actually forces your brain to wake up and engage. It demands way more of you than the passive act of scrolling ever could. By forcing that level of absorption, you're literally leaving no cognitive room for the anxiety or anger loops to keep running. You are giving your nervous system a brand new anchor. But let's be real for a second. Sometimes we know the doom scroll isn't going to help, but we do it anyway. Why? Well, maybe because fully engaging in something else means letting the feelings shift, and sometimes we just aren't ready for that. So the next time you find yourself reaching for the phone to scroll instead of reaching for something real, ask yourself this. Are you actually ready to let the feelings shift, or is holding on to it doing something for you too? It's a really powerful question to ponder. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I'll see you next time.